we're diving into 3 one-pan midweek meals. My friends are always asking me what's for dinner, so I thought I'd show you. We're having a frittata, we're doing some pork scotch fillet with apple onion on mash, and we're also doing a cheats biryani. Come along, I'll show you everything you need to know. I feel like there are so many fabulous outcomes we could create with these eggs, but today, as part of my go-to dinner set, I'm doing frittata. And the reason I love frittata is because you can put anything you like. I call it the fridge clean out. You just see what you've got left over in the fridge. If you've got eggs, got a bit of cheese, ideally potatoes, but you know, you could just make it with zucchini or anything that you have to hand. So let's start rolling through this. All we need to do is get our eggs in a bowl, and we're giving them a little whisk with some salt, pepper, and then setting them aside, ready to hold the whole dish together. I thought I'd try putting a little bit of dry dill in the egg mix, and that is all we need to do. We're going to whisk these together. They don't need to be whisked as hard as you might if you were doing an omelette. They can be a little bit rougher. That's going to be set aside to hold our dish together, which is all going to be built in this beautiful cast iron pan on my stove top. Also, if you have them to hand, let's add some garlic, and all you need to do, this is what the nonnas do in Italy, is just throw the garlic into the pan and just let it to start to infuse, and that will send some delicious garlicky goodness into your dish. If you add salt to your onions, they won't burn as quickly. Any excuse to add salt. So we're just going to toss these onions around in the pan until they're starting to catch and become caramelised, and we're going to let that garlic just really, I'm going to squash it a little bit more, become one with the oil. These gorgeous royal blue potatoes are fabulous for a frittata because they'll hold really well. I've already par-cooked some, so I'm just going to cut them into thin rounds, ready for when the onion is cooked, and then we can just add them to the pan. So probably about 5 is going to work for this size pan. And the great thing about potatoes is they are a really good kind of bare palate for flavour. So they will sit nicely aside any of the flavours you decide to put in your frittata. Once you've got the onions cooked to where you'd like them to be, which I'd like them to be a little bit more caramelised, really a frittata comes together so quickly. You're just layering everything into the pan, and then we will bind it all with the egg by putting the egg over the top. And then I like to let the egg cook a little bit, and you'll start to see bubbles come through the top of the egg, and that's when I'm going to move it over to the oven and get the top nice and crispy and cheesy. It's going to be fabulous. The onions are looking really good. I'm going to turn it down a little bit and just layer in some potato. And then I'm going to toss it because I don't want all the onions on the bottom. So let's just give that a little bit of a toss and get some of the potatoes hitting the bottom of the pan. And you just want one layer of potatoes across the bottom, really. So I'll fill it in a little, leaving the garlic sitting there getting caramelised on the bottom. Today, I'm going to use broccolini. I'm literally just going to lay this broccolini, which will cook inside the frittata, into the pan. No need to be particularly fussy about how it goes. And then we're going, maybe we'll do some cheese. You can use any cheese that you have to hand. So let's put a little bit of taste in. And I've got a bunch of cheese left over from a shoot the other day, so I'm going to add some feta. Just pop that in. It really is up to you what you add. Then we're going back in with more potatoes.
You got suggestions for potatoes?
Yeah, the royal blue are really good because they'll stay nice and firm. They won't break down too much in your frittata. And skin on, always skin on, no need to take the skin off. Now, we are going to throw a few more broccolini across the top. And we are going to put some more cheese, because why not? I mean, who doesn't like cheese? And then we are going to sprinkle with my second favourite ingredient and drizzle with my first favourite ingredient, because we've got to get our 90 mils in a day, remember, if we want to stay in the blue zone, 90 mils. And then it's all going to be held together by our eggs. So in they go, just spread them around evenly. And that will hold everything together. So now we're going to let this sit and start to cook on the cooktop. But when you see bubbles starting to come through the egg, that's when you know it's time to take it from the cooktop over to the oven. Oh, now I'm going to cut it. We've caught the bubbles coming through. That means it's sealed and cooked on the bottom. We want to get it cooking on the top, so I'm going to take it to the oven now, and it'll probably be about 15 to 20 minutes, and this will be ready for the dinner table. Happy days. Another reason I love cast iron is because of the cooktop to oven situation. Just being able to go from one to the other without having to think about it is brilliant. I love anything that's easy to use. I just thought I'd show you how a food stylist puts tomatoes on a frittata. Anyway, I just thought this could do with a little bit of freshness, but you can see, actually coming close, you know that the frittata is cooked when you cut through here and you push down and no wet egg comes through, and you can see that it's, you know, there's no wiggle left. Let's cut in and have a look at what is going on inside this glorious little frittata. He's quite warm. I'd probably leave him to sit a little bit longer, but I can't wait. Hello, darling. I think I left a little bit of potato behind, but that's okay. It happens to the best of us. So you can see that everything's cooked and layered and cheesy. I mean, honestly, that's dinner done, right?